Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the channel. If you're a current subscriber, welcome back to the channel. If you're new, welcome to the channel for the first time. Today we are in Micah 6, verse 8. That's where we're coming from today. Micah 6, verse 8. And I also got some questions that I wrote down in advance as I was prepping to have today's chat with you. I think this is an interesting piece of scripture that can provoke good conversation. So I would, appreciate your comments and all that good stuff. And of course, I'll appreciate your support. Road to 5,000 and beyond. Subscribe and hit the like button. All right. So let's get into it. Let's talk about it. Micah 6:8. So King James Version first, and then I'll do a translation for you. So King James Version chapter 6, verse 8. Verse 8 says, "He had shewed thee, O man, what is good, and what doth the Lord require of thee, but to do justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with thy God." Right? So let's translate. He has shown you, O mortal man, what is good. So if we've been shown what is good, right? We got a fire truck going by. If we've been shown what is good, then it means we probably know what is bad, right? And what does the Lord require of you? So we've been shown and told what the Lord requires of us: to act justly, and to love mercy, and to work humbly with our God, right? And may God have mercy in whatever those fire trucks are going and work on. Have mercy. Hopefully it's not some accident or something. All right. So let's break it down. Let's break it down. I got 3 questions. What does it mean to act justly? What does it mean to act justly? In today's society, in your life, at any point in time in history, what does it mean to act justly? Right? So when I think of justice, let me give you some insight into how I kind of look at this. And bear with me, follow me. There are heinous crimes that folks would commit, such as murder and all that sort of stuff, rape and murder, all that sort of stuff. And so if I was a judge, federal judge, appellate judge, district judge, whatever, right? If I was a judge, I still have a problem, and this is a personal thing. I have a problem with the death penalty. I have a problem with the death. Let me tell you why I have a problem with the death penalty. I have a problem with the death penalty because I feel, I really believe that it is not my right to order someone to death. Now, I know and I completely understand how someone's going to feel and some people are going to say, you completely understand. Well, not 100% completely understand, but I have a really good sense of what folks will go through if they lose someone close to them in a horrible crime. My nephew, just a couple months ago, was robbed while at his job, while working hard for his money, not involved in any gangs, no crime, no nothing like that, was robbed, shot, and killed. So I have some sense of what it is to be in a circumstance where you feel like nothing makes sense in the moment. Still doesn't make sense a couple months after. And didn't make sense then. However, ordering someone to death, if I was a judge, would be a very difficult thing for me, because to a great extent, I believe vengeance is the Lord's, right? Vengeance, I am going to leave that up to the Lord. Now, does this person deserve, in the interim, life imprisonment and maybe whatever form of punishment could come with that? Yes. Solitary confinement? Yes. Right? Okay. I'm sorry. Don't judge me. But that's the extent to which I could see myself going. Some of you might disagree with me, but that's fine. Okay? So just discourse. But I'm asking you, my question is around justice. What does it mean to act justly, in your opinion? My next thing is, how do we uphold fairness in our daily lives? What does that look like, to uphold fairness in your daily life? Let's say from the perspective of a teacher. If I'm looking at it from that perspective, I'm thinking, if I'm a teacher and I set deadlines, and I say there's an assignment and it's due XYZ, and I say no one's going to receive special treatment, and I have it outlined in a syllabus, and several folks submit their stuff late, I think fairness in that particular example in my daily life would be that you cannot get the same points as folks who have respected, right, the deadlines or whatever the case is, and submitted something early, on time. Not necessarily early, but it was submitted on time. That is fair it's fair to everyone that whatever policies have been laid out applies to all, that no one gets special treatment. Now, there are always going to be cases where maybe someone had a serious incident or something like that, and that has to be taken into consideration. The world is not a perfect place, and things are going to happen, right? So there are always going to be those exceptions, and we got to take those exceptions into consideration, right? We'll take those exceptions into consideration. But what is it to act justly, and how do you uphold fairness in your daily lives? Give me an example. Provide some examples. Let's see. My second thing that I have for discussion here is, how do we balance justice with kindness and forgiveness? This is tricky, because this is part of what I'm getting from that scripture. So, how do we balance justice with kindness and forgiveness? What do y'all think? I am really curious about this one. How do we balance justice? Because up front I said, okay, justice is, for me, you spend the rest of your life in prison, probably have a period of solitary confinement, and you don't receive the same grade, if you submitted stuff late, if you do not have a proper reason for that late submission. Kindness, I think, is to take into consideration the fact that the person has mitigating circumstances, right? Things that may have happened. And to what extent do I still receive the assignment? I'm trying to use examples, right? Or in the case of a courtroom situation, to what extent do I... It's not that you will not be punished. Okay, let's say it's not death. It's something that could lead to death penalty. But to what extent do I give you a reduced, if I was a judge, a reduced sentence, taking into consideration how much sympathy or perhaps empathy or forgiveness you have shown as we have gone through this case, or as you have had an opportunity to address the court. Right? I'm trying to use these examples to make sense of. So mercy, how do we balance justice with kindness and forgiveness? How do you all think? Let me know. What do you think? My last one is humility. Wow, it's the final one. What does it look like to walk humbly with God? And how do we avoid pride while staying confident in faith? I think I'm going to leave those for another. I'm going to leave that for a completely separate video. Let's focus on justice and mercy first. I think I've given you enough to kind of paddle with in your mind. Micah chapter 6 verse 8. Justice. What does it mean to act justly? How do we uphold fairness in our daily lives? And how do we balance justice with kindness and forgiveness? I have tried to offer you examples through the eyes of maybe like a school teacher or a college professor or a judge or something. But I'm curious about your thoughts. I'm curious about what you think. Offer some examples. Let us know. Let's have the discussion. Just curious to see what you would say, right? So, all right, guys. So I think this is enough. I don't want to become too wordy, but drop your comments. I'm curious, what you're thinking. I love a good discussion, good back and forth. It's not about arguing or necessarily disagreeing or whatever the case is, but promoting healthy conversation that I think hopefully can make all of us better, smarter, more kind and aware folks, right? So that's it for today. I've got two things I always ask you to do at the end of every video. And one is do something good for someone. You do not have to be rich to give back. And then also do something good for yourself. If there's a situation you need to walk out of, you get going. If there's a situation you need to walk into, get going. Be good, subscribe, share, Journey to 5,000 and beyond. Till next time, peace.